This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Wrestling Perspective, Dennis Farrell, PD Williams. PD Williams is not joining me for this little pre-record, but if you hang on, we have an amazing interview with Eli Drake coming up. I cannot wait for you guys to listen to that. As you know, I've been a huge fan of Eli, so this was a major get for me. It was a fun interview, a very insightful interview also, so stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, I want to talk about, of course, you know about Blue Chew and how amazing they have been. Without Blue Chew, this podcast would not be where it is today. Without Blue Chew, we would not have a syndicated radio show heard on over 100 radio markets, sponsored by SB Nation Radio. So go to BlueChew.com, use the promo code Perspective, get your first order of Blue Chew for free. Just pay $5 shipping and handling. Look, I don't know if you need it, if you don't, if you're too proud. But I know one thing about you, and I'm talking to you, you, is you spend $5 on a bunch of junk every day. Well, you know what? Throw a little our way. PD and I don't ask for anything. We don't have a Patreon. We would never imagine asking our fans to pay for an episode of anything like some podcasts do. We have shirts, but we don't hawk them all that much. But you can go to whatforapparel.com/WPP if you want to buy a shirt. Thanks, guys. Anyways, the only thing we ask is $5. Use $5. Tell a friend, go to Blue Chew. Every time you use it, they send us a check, and it helps keep us on the radio. And they've been one of our longest sponsors. So if you don't know what Blue Chew is, it is a meal enhancement pill that will help you go from a mid-card talent in bed to a main eventer. We all know, look, so before Blue Chew, I was like the Brooklyn Brawler. You know, clumsily getting my way through a bedroom session with the wife, and, you know, one of us is leaving happy and it's not her. After Blue Chew, I'm putting on 5-star Kenny Omega matches in bed, okay? I'm doing Hurricane Ranas off the top turnbuckles. I'm getting the clean 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the bed with Blue Chew. It's made from the same active ingredients as Cialis and Viagra, so you know it works. It's made in America, so you know it's cheaper. You can get it online, so there's no awkward doctor visits. And don't worry about having a big old box sent to your doorstep with the words Blue Chew written all over it and your neighbors knows what's going on. It's discreet. Trust me, I know. I use it. I endorse this product. PD loves this product. So make sure you go to BlueChew.com. And look, I don't care if you use it, you don't use it, you put it in a drawer, you give it to a friend. I don't care. All I'm asking for you to do is go out and get Blue Chew so they can keep coming back and everybody is happy. Next, our newest sponsor for the next 3 weeks is something I am proud to endorse. And I love Sami Callihan. Sami Callihan has quickly become a very good wrestling friend of mine. We sit, we talk. He is very insightful. I don't know if Sammy wants me saying this, but he is one of the salt of the earth people out there who truly love the wrestling business, who cares. And Pancakes and Pile Drivers is one of his events. I know you guys have heard about this. This has become one of the quickest, most popular events in all of WrestleMania. Outside of WrestleMania and United We Stand, I think I would even say it's probably more popular right now than United We Stand. I'm sure Impact is probably going, whoa, don't say that, but I don't care. I'm going to say it. Look, 4/6/19, the Hilton Midtown Ballroom in New York City, they're returning for WrestleCon weekend in WrestleMania with their 3rd annual Pancakes and Pile Drivers event, featuring Rich Swann, the Lucha Brothers, OVE, Brian Cage, a ton more talent. Sami Callihan himself will be there. LEX. Look, the card's subject to change. Understand that. But what an event. And hopefully you guys will go and check it out. If you have any more questions, go to ProWrestlingRevolver.com. I'm going to play sometime this week or next week the interview Sami Callihan and myself did talking about this event, to listen to how much excitement and love he has. You know, he was talking about how last year guys like David Arquette just showed up, you know, to watch this event, and other comedians were there. I don't want to spoil the whole. You never know who will show up to Pancakes and Pile Drivers. And I gotta tell you, go check it out. I've been to a Rockstar show that these guys have put on. It was phenomenal in Dayton. I know Wrestle Revolver is just as amazing as they are. Sammy is one of the guys that I can call a friend. If he were to call me and ask me to do anything for him, I would get my car, drive down to Dayton, and help Sammy do whatever it is, minus like burying a body or something, just because I'm lazy, not because I have morals or ethics. So go check them out, ProWrestlingRevolver.com. If you're going to be in New York City for WrestleMania weekend, I got to tell you, go there. Check out Pancakes and Pile Drivers. Phenomenal event. It's fun. Where else can you go and get fed, watch wrestling the morning of, by the way? It's not like you have to go to this event, hurry to get in line for WrestleMania, and then enjoy it, and you're tired. This is like get up at 10, 11. I don't know what time it is, so I'm just throwing that out there. Go have breakfast. You're going to eat breakfast anyways, right? Eat breakfast, watch wrestling, maybe sit beside someone famous. Like I said, I don't know if he's there this year or not, but David Arquette was there last year just watching the event, having fun. It is one of the most fun events, and I'll tell you, if I were going WrestleMania weekend, I would buy a ticket. I wouldn't even ask Sami Callihan for a free ticket. I would actually buy a ticket to go support them. That's how much I believe in Pro Wrestling Revolver. And even outside of that, go to Pro Wrestling Revolver. Like their Facebook page. Make sure you're following them on Twitter. Because if they host an event in your town, you do not want to miss it. Now, we're done with the reads. We have Eli Drake coming up in a couple of minutes. I do want to put over Petey Williams and myself. If this is the first time you're listening, first of all, welcome. I'm deathly tired. I'm recording this after 2 days of tapings at Impact. It was a blast. I'm sure this week Petey and I will sit down and we'll talk about the tapings and all the fun that we had and some great stories. I did not want to wait to put out the Eli Drake interview. As I said, he was very insightful and it was fun, and I want to make sure you guys get to hear this. So, in just a second, Eli Drake. Don't forget, if you enjoy this podcast, head over to WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. That's the quickest way to get to any of the links, whether you listen on Stitcher, iTunes, anywhere else. Make sure you follow Petey Williams at iPeteyWilliams. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dennis77Farrell, Farrell. That's Dennis77Farrell. I'm trying to do a push and get more fans. So if you're on Twitter, do that. We have a Facebook page, Wrestling Perspective Podcast. Sometimes we do Facebook Lives over there. We do Q&As. We try to have more fun. We'll make the page a little bit more active. And don't forget, also on the same feed that you're going to listen to this, we also post the radio show. That's more WWE centric. So if you're listening to want WWE talk, you look for anything with SB Nation written on it. Russ McCall and myself, we do a syndicated radio show heard on over 100 radio stations. And as we said, without Blue Chew, we wouldn't be able to do this, and we need you guys, so go to BlueChew.com, use the promo code Perspective. Heck, you can let us know you did it, or don't let us know. Either way, we thank you very much. Now, enjoy Eli Drake, because I had a blast doing this interview. All right, Pete, I am like a little schoolgirl right now, because when we first started this podcast, there was one guy kept begging you to get on the podcast. We've had Chris Jericho. We've had everybody on. And the one guy, like, I've come to these tapings as, like, your little hang-on buddy, right?
Mystery guest.
Mystery guest. And I'm like, Pete, go ask him. Because I'm nervous to go talk to him because, like, he's famous. I'm me, right? Fat guy in a little vest that barely fits me. And
by the way, before he gets there, the one thing I feel like you need now is that sound clip of Jim Carrey saying, "I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy." Anyway, go on.
But, Pete, you made it happen.
We made it happen. And, we talk about this guy probably every podcast. We argue about him, his character, what's going on with him in Impact. But without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome Eli Drake.
Who's arguing about me? What are we arguing about?
Okay, well, let me start.
Okay, you start it.
Okay, so then we both agree you got this cool factor about you. All right.
Wait.
So
have you ever seen Broken Arrow, the movie?
No.
Really, not one person has seen this
He's
movie.
going to explain it to you.
All right, so Broken Arrow, mid-'90s movie, Christian Slater, John Travolta.
Yep.
They both play like Air Force pilots transporting a nuclear bomb. One turns on the other. And every time they show John Travolta's character, there's this like cool, twangy guitar sound that comes on behind him.
His own soundtrack, pretty much.
And I always say that every time you enter a room, you become the coolest guy automatically into the room. That you should have somebody behind you going.
I need to find a henchman who can just follow me then.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you got it. So, but the argument stems where he's like, he thinks Eli should be like the head star of the company, which I agree with because we both we both agree that you got this cool factor. But then I had to explain to him, like, listen, right now they got something else going on in the title picture. Like, Eli can't always be in the title picture because they got to build up other characters and other stars, so that way when you slip back in,
sure,
and then that way you can elevate other mid-card wrestlers. You agree?
Yeah, I think also, though, at the same time, there is a way to keep a talent elevated even while you're elevating others. And you asked before we got on the air, I'm sorry I'm breaking down the fourth wall, if I was uncomfortable talking about anything. I'm not. I'll be honest, I have kind of been, exception of the last few months, kind of written in oblivion the last year. Fortunately, the fact that I can speak has kept me relevant to some degree. But otherwise, a lot of it stemmed from the fact that it was believed that I was leaving. I even thought that I was going to be leaving. And at the last minute, I kind of did an inventory of everything. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay here. And I was thinking, all right, well, there's going to be probably a level of happiness and appreciation. Oh, great. Well, now we can use him in this great way. And then it was like, no, we'll feed him to Joe Hendry.
Right.
We'll feed him to and I'm like, what? Why?
Why'd you come back?
Why? I don't. And in the last couple months, I've enjoyed myself very, very much. The stuff with the Biss, the stuff with Eddie, everything's been good. But leading up to that point, I actually agree with you, and I agree with you. I'm sorry, I'm pointing like the audience at home knows.
They know.
I agree with both of you guys, but in different ways. If you take, for instance, I'm going to take us back to the late 90s, because I have not kept in touch with wrestling since about 2003, if I'm honest. If you look at, The Rock, Steve Austin, Triple H, those guys weren't always in the title picture necessarily, but they were within reach. I feel like if you watched this show between last April and this past December, you'd have no idea I was the world champion a year before.
I agree.
And I think that that's where there's a gigantic disconnect, for my character anyway in particular.
Now, does something like that affect – now, because I don't know you outside of the Eli Drake character, and people have different motivations for signing contracts. Like Petey, he doesn't care about wins and losses, and he just has fun. But for someone like you, is that stuff important to you? Would you take a good storyline, interesting momentum over, let's say, a dollar amount that may not be life-changing? Let's say one company offered just a little bit more than the other. How does that play out for you?
Well, there's so many factors that go into that. There's a level of freedom that I have enjoyed here, whether that be freedom to do whatever I want outside or whatever, or the freedom to just be like, they know me. Mm-hmm. And if it comes down to a promo segment or whatever, it's kind of like, here's the points we want you to get across, go do your thing. That I love. That I appreciate. The money I'm getting paid is great. And I know that a lot of people are like, well, I don't know, I heard Impact. No, I'm doing fine. I'm living comfortably.
Well, we were worried about you, honestly. Yeah. We have a collection going around. We were worried.
and considering that last year, it was just like, okay, I'm making good money. I've got a beautiful girlfriend here. I love my life that I'm living here in Los Angeles. Do I really want to go and move to, X city and actually take a pay cut in the meantime? And the answer at that time was no. The answer was yes for a minute, because I was like, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to do this, and I know I have potential to grow beyond. But at the same time, I was just kind of thinking where I was, what I was doing. I don't know. So, I mean, those decisions can be very intricate because, again, there's a lot of details in what you were saying.
Now, Pete, I'm gonna while he's being open for a second.
Yep.
And I know
Just for a second, I'm about to close up.
I know, and I know you're not gonna, tell us everything that's going on.
Everything.
But when you wake up and you see dirt sheets start talking like, "Oh, WWE or blank is interested in Eli Drake now," look, I'm not a dirt sheet guy. I don't read or listen to them, but I'm always curious on how news gets leaked, and then if it gets leaked, how does a wrestler or talent react to it?
Well, I wondered that too because actually I got tagged in that the other day on Instagram. And
I saw that.
So I look at that and
What did it say? I'm not aware.
It said, I think it said something to the effect of like WWE interested in Eli Drake.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I'm like, well, nobody's contacted me. So what's the source? I mean, like I've talked to people there that I'm friendly with or whatever, certain coaches that I'm friendly with and stuff like that, but nobody's overt. I mean, definitely people have been like, I think you do well here, but nobody was like overtly making me an offer. There was nothing like that. So it was more just friendly conversations along with, by the way,
Right.
you probably could think about it. But there was nothing like outright, nobody's contacted me, nothing like that. I know AEW's out there, all that stuff. So the fact is there's a lot of options at this point. And this is a time where, truth be told, I run up on May 31st here at Impact. So
Really?
So if that's the case, I mean, it's time to start thinking about what options I have, things like that. Look at me being open, but yeah. So there's what a couple months left on this, and should I stay or should I go? We will find out. But the deal is there's so many options out there now, and it's just a matter of how can I best boost. I'm sorry. Whoa, watch out. Best boost my brand awareness. That's a tongue twister. And how can I also put more money in my pocket? So, and also looking at longevity, because look, I'm 36. I feel like I'm 19, but sometimes my body doesn't agree with me. So, it's just a matter of figuring out what's going to work best for me long term.
And I absolutely agree with you. I know, like we're not chummy friends. I think we have a good professional relationship.
Sure.
I've wrestled you that one time up in Ottawa. I love that match, and I still talk about it all the time. I know I don't want to see you go, but once again, not my show, okay? Yeah. But one thing I do, like I've been a part of your segments and stuff, like producing and stuff, and I remember this one, and I'm leading my question coming up. We did that Thanksgiving episode. Yeah. It was like, that was your episode. What's the name of it again? I can't even say it.
Oh, jeez.
Eli
Drake's Gravy Train Turkey Trot.
Okay, yeah. So it's a big thing. But,
Sanjay Dutt creation.
Yeah. So, and screw Sanjay Dutt. Anyway, that's the big joke at the production meetings and stuff like that. Anyways, so we had this, and we had to, start filming early, and it was, you're the team captain on one end, and then you have a guy, the team captain on the other end, that doesn't even talk, Fala.
Yeah.
All right? And you had to do like 20 promos in a row. Nothing's written for you.
No.
And you would be like, all right, who's up next? I remember you watching, it's like, oh, OV's coming up. It's like, okay. And they'll be like, yeah, the one line we're going to say is this. And you're like, all right, hit the camera, roll it. And then you're just spewing out things like it's like, and you're carrying every single segment on that promo, and then including the match, like that whole thing. 2 hours of Impact was about you. Yeah. So my question is, like, where do you get like your promo skills? Like, you're above and beyond. I feel like 95% of wrestlers in the world.
Thank you.
Where do you like get your inspiration from and all that kind of stuff? How do you develop?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I don't know. In a scenario like that, I love to listen to whatever the other person's saying or watch what they do, because that way I can use something that actually pertains to them as opposed to just general, generic, bland, I'm going to kick your ass and all this stuff. It's kind of like I can use something that pertains to that person. So, if they tell me, hey, I'm thinking about saying this line, whatever, I'm like, okay, cool. And if they don't tell me anything, then I'm just listening intently, boom, 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 somehow I can bark it back. But, I mean, if we're going to go inspirations and stuff like that, I have a funny video that I just found, maybe, I'm going to say a month ago. And it's me at 17 years old doing The Rock's pre-WrestleMania 15 promo. And I put it side by side. And it's amazing. Man. It's really amazing to watch. I was 17 years old. I had the WCW belt on because it was the only replica belt that actually existed at the time. And yeah, I did the whole WrestleMania 15. I forget how the whole thing goes, but so it was definitely in my early childhood. I was a huge Hulkamaniac. So something about just everything that Hulk Hogan was like, I wanted to be him. Then we get into high school, and it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I wanted to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then The Rock got huge, and I wanted to be The Rock. And it was like, those are my three guys. And then as time went along and I started to study the business a little more, I always liked Jake the Snake. I always liked Ric Flair, but I never had the true appreciation that I gained for them later until I was actually in the business. And then I was like, wow, Jake the Snake is an amazing promo guy. Ric Flair always is a good promo guy, but it was just like I never really noticed it or paid attention. But now I watch even some of those WCW ones where the mean by God Gene, that stuff just gets me. So all that stuff and taking that in, my thing when I got into wrestling was I wanted to first of all look like a wrestler. So I didn't even start wrestling until I'm 6'1", so I was like, I want to be at least 200 pounds. I didn't even get in a ring until I was at least 200 pounds because I didn't understand the idea of not being a big guy. Second, I wanted to be able to talk because anybody that I ever liked could talk. And I know people are going to hate when I say this, but I feel like the wrestling is almost secondary. And I know that that's the bulk of the program, but it's the stories and the characters that sell everything. If you look at the biggest swells in wrestling ever, the Attitude Era, the Golden Era with Hulk Hogan, all that stuff, that was character-driven, and that's what brought the people in. The rest of the people always be like, oh, the wrestling was horrible in the Attitude Era. Oh, Hogan's a terrible wrestler. Who cares?
Right.
The fact is they had great psychology with what they were doing in the ring, things that made sense with what they were doing, and at the same time, here are these characters bringing in viewers who don't even regularly watch wrestling. So if you're making everything about your moves, that's good because you want your stuff to be crisp. But if that's all you've got, you're only really entertaining the hardcore wrestling fans who are going to be there anyway. If you want to bring in a bigger audience, you gotta be able to talk.
You know, what made me a fanboy of yours was your YouTube channel. The stuff you did and how entertaining. People don't realize how truly funny you are.
Oh, no. What did I do?
No, well, I mean, everything. You know what you did. And go Google it because this YouTube channel is
Impossible Castle.
Yeah.
What was you watch Take the Money, I'm going to assume?
Yes,
maybe?
Of course. That's what got me started was Take the Money. And that's when I really learned about you. I did not know you were on a reality show for the longest time.
Well, the funny misconception there is a lot of people think that I was on the reality show and then got into wrestling. God, that couldn't be further from the truth. I wish it was that easy. Yeah. I've been pounding hard at this since I was 20 years old for 16 years now. Actually, I just celebrated my 16-year anniversary of starting training 6 days ago. I'm sorry that I'm probably...
Was that a paper anniversary there, 16? Is that paper or diamonds?
That might be diamonds.
I don't know, but my career can drive now, so we're good to go. But it's... In that regard, it's like, man, I've been doing this a long time. You got the reality thing definitely... I want to say it helped. It didn't really. It just kind of happened at the same time. It was like that happened, and I got signed to WWE at the same time. But yeah, so anyway, I did the Take the Money thing. Fatty Cock Block is one of my favorites. So if you search Fatty Cock Block, you're going to see something real dumb.
But where I'm leading with this is who drives the humor? Is it the Eli Drake character that brings out the best in you as a person, or is it you as a person that creates the humor and then transfers it over to Eli Drake?
Eli Drake is the argumentative jerk side of me and the party side of me both melded together and with the volume turned up. So if you saw me at a party or if you saw me in an argument or some reason I was in an argument at a party, which makes no sense, you'd have Eli Drake.
All right, I got one more question, Pete. I don't know about you.
Go ahead.
All right, so you're open. Your contract's up in 2 months. You're very...
Shh, don't tell everybody.
That no one's listening. Don't worry. Trust me.
We're not even hitting record on this.
No.
We just wanted to talk to you in private.
This is all a ruse just to get some face
I'm
time.
open for work. Call me. Hire me.
Now, you were open about how you were 1 foot out the door and you changed your mind. This time your contract extension's out. Just general feelings. Look, I'm not asking you to tell me your game plan or if you have any contracts on the table, but as your feelings approaching the extension date, do you feel the same way the first time around? Are feelings a little bit different? That's kind of where I'm going here.
How honest do I be here?
Please, really honest?
No, I mean, I think I voiced earlier a little bit of disappointment with the first half of this last year, this last contract.
I'm definitely disappointed. Every time we drive back, I complain like, dude, what are they doing with Eli Drake?
Yeah, and I think the stuff I've been doing with Eddie lately is great. I think the match with Abyss, I never ever want to have a match like that again, but it was great. And that stuff has been great. But that aside, that took a long time. That took like 5 or 6 months just to get to any relevant storyline again. And with that, I'm just kind of like, man, all right, well, maybe I should have taken the opportunity to go elsewhere. But at the same time, again, you got to do an inventory of where I am in life. Like I'm living pretty comfortably. I'm living where I want. I'm making a decent paycheck. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in a couple months, but
all right.
Who knows?
Pete?
Well, I mean, in the meantime, I see you have your Impact Wrestling shirt on with a dice right there.
That's right.
Hoodie,
Who's
I
on the
should say.
back? Oh, my goodness.
Eli Drake on the back right there.
I'm actually on something.
But anyways, Eli, where can people find you? Get your T-shirts, all that kind of stuff.
ProWrestlingTees.com/Eli Drake. Of course, go and get all your beautiful, fancy Eli Drake gear there. You can also go to Twitter and Instagram and find me at the Eli Drake. TheEliDrake.
I'm there. I follow him.
There it is.
All right.